I'm going to reverse the bullet points on my piece of paper because it says first I ask for introductions, but second I say thank you. But the first thing I want to do
Yeah.
is say thank you guys for doing this. I know April's done it in the past, and I really appreciate that. Caitlin's in it for the long haul for many years. I
You
truly
do.
appreciate that, right? Yep. Dale is always there behind the scenes, making sure everything works out for us. And Sadie, I really, yeah, and Cindy, I really want to thank you for stepping up like this. It's always kind of nerve wracking for me, anyways, to jump into the deep end of a new pool. So, welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Karen Ann Hoffman. I'm a Haudenosaunee raised beadwork artist. I'm the student of Samuel Thomas and his mom, Lorna Hill, both of whom are gone now, but both of whom I'm forever grateful for their influence. And I do sit on the Wisconsin Arts Board and have for, I don't know, 10 years or so. I'd have to look back. And part of that makes me the chairperson of the Woodland Indian Arts Program and Initiative, and that's why we're gathered here today. So I'm going to ask first Caitlin, then April, then Sadie to just introduce themselves. And I don't know if Dale does this part or if he just gives us a thumbs up as
Dale
our.
can introduce himself,
Oh
sure.
yes, I would love for us to know Dale. So maybe Caitlin, you start, and then Dale, and then April and Sadie.
Yeah. Good morning again, everyone, and thank you again, like Karen Ann said. It's you all are so critical to this process, and your knowledge and expertise is how we do it. So I just am so appreciative. I'm Caitlin Burrell. I'm the Folk and Traditional Arts Coordinator here at the Wisconsin Arts Board. And it's really a privilege of my position to have any hand in sort of stewarding this particular program, this Woodland Indian Arts program. So just grateful for your expertise, and I'll pass it over to Dale.
I'm Dale Johnson, Grants and Information Specialist here at the Arts Board and the man behind the curtain. I'll just keep track of your scores today.
Thanks, Dale. Ms. April?
Yeah, bonjour, Sego. My name is April Lindola, and even though I'm a little farther north than what the Wisconsin state line says, I feel very honored and privileged to be asked to help in some of the decision making with seeing some of the arts happening in Wisconsin with our Indigenous communities, and work here at Northern Michigan University in the Native American Studies Center, and have myself also been bead artist for a long time, and I've been privileged to have a number of Ojibwa bead artist teachers as well as Haudenosaunee artists. And then also very excited to see that, some of my friends and relatives in Ojibwa territory are putting together some really cool things out there, as well as in Oneida territory and stuff. So happy to be here today.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks,
April.
April. Miss Sadie?
Hi, I'm Sadie. I am a member of Oneida Nation. I also work for Oneida Nation Arts Program as the coordinator. And then I run our Dollars for Art program and our Seeds program, which is our regranting program. And so it's kind of giving me a well-rounded view of being a panelist and then managing the grant program, and then also being somebody who received a grant recently for with my beading mentor for beadwork. So yes, I'm happy to be here and happy to get this well-rounded view.
Cool.
Thanks, Sadie. And I had such a nice visit with you and Jennifer recently up in Green Bay. So good to see you on Zoom. Well, Karen Ann and I will run through one more scripted orientation for you. I think that a lot of this will be familiar, but feel free to ask questions. We just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, Karen Ann, you want to get us started with that
Sure.
script
Let me
there?
just read this then, you guys. So the Wisconsin Arts Board in brief. The Wisconsin Art Board is the state arts agency. We nurture creativity, cultivate expression, promote the arts, support the arts and education, stimulate community and economic development, and serve as a resource for people of every culture and heritage. This mission, encapsulated in our positioning statement, creativity, culture, community, and commerce. Our vision is inspired by a quote from the late Robert E. Gard, Professor Emeritus of Community Theater at the University of Wisconsin. And he says, "If we are seeking in America, let it be for the reality of democracy in the arts. Let the arts begin at home and let it spread through the children and parents, through the schools and the institutions, and through government. And let us start by acceptance, not negotiation, acceptance, that the arts are important everywhere, and that they can exist and flourish in small places as well as large, with money or without it, according to the will of the people. Let us put firmly and permanently aside the cliche that the arts are a frill. Let us accept the goodness of art where we are now and expand its worth in the places where people live. Now, we at the Arts Board, we embrace this vision. It guides our belief that the arts are basic to human life and essential to the human spirit. The Wisconsin Arts Board values imagination, creativity, curiosity, freedom of expression, respect and appreciation for all cultures and people, artistic quality, a broad definition of the arts, audience and patron development, and community engagement. The aims and objectives of this particular program, the Woodland Indian Arts Program, it is designed to promote and develop a foundation of cultural and economic support for traditional and contemporary Native American art in Wisconsin. As part of this work, the Arts Board annually distributes funding from gaming compact monies to support artistic activity among Wisconsin's tribes, bands, and urban Indian communities.
And the role of the panelist. So your role today is to provide expert assistance to the Wisconsin Arts Board in its grant-making decisions and to help the board, keep the board informed regarding needs and trends that you see. Today you'll be reviewing grant applications according to established review criteria and making recommendations to the board. We would like you to apprise the board of needs and trends within your field and community, either through your general discussion of applications or in written assessments for the board's consideration. We would greatly welcome your input, and we would value any suggestions and recommendations you would like to make on the whole grant evaluation process. The role of the panel chair is both informational and procedural. The chair is responsible for providing information regarding the Arts Board's policy and ensuring that panel meetings progress in an orderly fashion according to established procedures. The chair is a non-voting facilitator whose job is to ensure that each panelist's point of view is given ample consideration throughout the review of each application. The panel chair convenes the meeting, reviews the board's conflict of interest policy and determines whether possible conflicts exist, guides the panel through the review by serving as timekeeper and discussion monitor. Panelists should focus their deliberations on how each application's proposal meets the established review criteria. The chair may occasionally need to refocus the panel toward that end. Panel discussion should always be constructive, regardless of whether it is positive or negative. At the December board meeting, I should switch that. At the March board meeting, next week's board meeting, Karen Ann will report the panel's recommendations, and a written record of these recommendations and a summary of the comments will be provided by staff to facilitate this process. Panel chairs will clarify these comments if requested by the board, and the chair may also wish to comment on any trends or needs identified by the panel or make general observations regarding the overall nature of grant request. We would greatly value constructive comments and remarks on each application. Panel comments are sent to all applicants when they are notified of the outcome of their grant application. And that's a summary of those comments will be available to them. So the role of the staff today, I will be staffing the panel today with technical assistance from Dale. Staff can answer technical questions related to eligibility issues or if an applicant asks for assistance in the grant writing process. Staff cannot make any qualitative artistic judgments or tell you their opinion of the organization or artist work. I'll pass it back to you, Karen Ann.
So these are the criteria with which we will be working. Each application will be evaluated based on the purpose of the Woodland Indian Arts Program, and specifically the following 5 criteria. The degree to which the proposed activity will serve a need or interest in one or more of the identified Native American communities in Wisconsin, somewhere between 0 and 20 points. Secondly, the artistic quality of the proposed project, somewhere between 0 and 25 points. Thirdly, the feasibility of the proposed activity, 0 to 20 points. 4, the feasibility of the proposed budget from 0 to 20 points. And finally, number 5, the degree to which the proposed activity will develop a foundation of cultural and economic support for Native American arts and culture in Wisconsin, and that's between 0 and 15 points. You're going to be asked to score each individually from 1 to 100 based on the review criteria that we just went through. And however you score, please be consistent. Don't score hard at first and then get easier, vice versa. And as of today, all you panelists, thank you, have submitted your initial reviews. Following a discussion of each application, you'll provide numerical scores for each of these 5 criteria. At the break, Dale will average out the points for us, and we'll get a total of that at the end of the review session. If any applicant should receive less than 50 points, it automatically is taken out of consideration for a grant for this year. Then we'll look at the ranking to identify whether or not we see any natural breaks and where we want to put a floor beneath which no applications will be receiving funding. But you will not be asked to deal with the actual dollar amounts of the reward. After today, as previously noted, I'll be taking these recommendations to the full Wisconsin Arts Board. After review and ratification of the panel's recommendations by the Arts Board at their next week meeting, then the applicants will be notified of grant decisions. And that will happen very shortly after our meeting next week.
Yeah. Thanks, Marianne. And the conflict of interest policy. So you received the conflict of interest form. Thank you for sending those back to me. In the circumstance that you are asked to review an application of an organization with which you or a person with whom you have a familial relationship are associated, we ask that you withdraw from all consideration of that application. The panel should not take any including participating in subsequent stages of discussion regarding the applicant's relative ranking. The panel should not take any action on any application which would financially benefit a member of the advisory panel or someone with whom a member has a familial relationship. Panelists should be open about their ability to judge an application objectively, and the perception of conflict should also be considered and avoided. So I don't believe that we had any conflicts here. So I think we are good on all 5 of these applications. And then lastly, as you observed earlier, we are recording and live streaming the meeting on our YouTube channel because it's an open meeting. And regarding the appeals process, we would just like to let you know that an applicant may only make an appeal based on procedural errors, not on the basis of artistic judgment. So I will pause there to say, does anyone have any questions?
I do actually have a question, but I'm not sure if it's better for now or for later.
Throw it out.
Right. My question is I noticed there was a less number of applicants, and I was just wondering if there was a trend that might be being watched about that.
Yeah, there were a few that I was expecting to come in, at least 2 that were in draft status prior to the application deadline. And that would have put us at 7, which I think is closer to average. I think we're usually 6, 7 applications. And I reached out to them before the deadline, and there was one of them, it was an issue with honestly just getting the permissions higher up to submit the application.
Gotcha.
The other, they just capacity wise weren't ready to
That's
submit.
fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
So certainly watching that, and we're always looking to, up the reach of the program. So, and I think last year, April, I think it was your recommendation to include that note, how did you hear about it? Because that's helpful information for us. So, and I know that a few folks did fill that in. And, as you saw, there's applications, that we receive on a regular basis from some organizations. So, yeah, certainly keeping that in mind. And I noted that was tracking it this year, that there was at least 1 or 2 less than last year. But I think those 2 in draft status were, it would have put us about at the average. So, but thanks for calling that out. And we can certainly talk about it afterward too. I would love to continue that conversation.
Thank you, April.
Yeah.
That's a good question, and it helps to clear the mind, I think, to have that on the table. Sadie, questions, concerns?
So when I am putting in my score, do I just go into the initial review ones and type in the score? Okay.
Yeah, you'll go ahead and they should be, in that center column, initial review column now. If you open it up, you should now see numerical score boxes for each of those, and that's where you can enter them. And I think if you hit save at the end, it'll total for you, and you can kind of double check it before you hit submit final review. Great.
Do we feel good? So this is kind of what we're going to do, you guys. I'll call out the name of the application. I'll ask for the first reader to just give us a minute or two, not more than 3, but just give us a sense, a really good sense of what the application entails. And then we'll ask for the second or for the other person in the room if they have any additional comments. Then we'll give you a moment or two to score and move on to the next one. So is that all right? Working for people? All right, thanks. The first one then will be the College of the Menominee Nation in Kashina, Wisconsin. The request is for $6,000, and our reader was Sadie. So Sadie, if you want to give us your take, please.
Okay, I'm just pulling it up here.
Sure. We've got time, so no pressures.
Okay, so the community's okay, let me see. I'm just pulling it up. Okay, so again, this one is in Kashina. They're requesting $6,000 to produce an entirely new full-length pageant at the historical Woodland Bowl. So it will be the first new show in 50 years. Pageants were revived by Wynn and his team back in 2016. A new pageant will be presented in August, the week of the Menominee Contest Powwow. And then I put that the application is well written, it was thorough, and the timeline and the budget were clear. And the only thing I wished was that the person writing the application would have given a little bit more context as to what traditional Menominee topics are that the pageant touches on. Otherwise, I thought that this application was very well put together.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sadie.
Any comments, April?
Yeah, so I also felt this was very strongly written. I thought there was some, the budget was clear, lots of clear communication. The narrative had specific duties outlined for one of the interns, but not the second intern. And while the narrative was well constructed, like I said, specificity for both interns would have been more helpful, only because I think the other intern was getting a little bit more money out of the grant request, and that would have been helpful for me. But, for me, otherwise, it was very strongly written and very clear to understand what was being asked of. And certainly, best wishes on a new production. First one in 50 years. That's a big thing to reach for. And so that was exciting to see.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments in the room?
I was going to say, I'll just chime in. I'm just scanning through Lewis's comments, and he also noted, the strength is really the foundation that Dr. Wynn has created over the past several years. And not so much a weakness, but just noted that they are really entering new territory with this application, which is exciting. He also noted, the feasibility wise, they really seem to check off each item on the criterion there, and thought that this could sort of lead to other exciting, work. So that is the bulk of Lewis's comments on that one.
Any bounce back or conversation?
I do have one more comment when I'm looking through my notes. The proposed timeline allows for a little under 2 months of rehearsing and marketing the pageant. I thought that was just a little tight, seeing as it's a new production, and not something that they have done year after year. So I just thought 2 months was a little tight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sadie.
Anything else? Well, I appreciate everyone's thoughtful comments. And so I think what happens next is we give you a few minutes to fill in your scores. And I don't know, you give me a thumbs up when you're done and we'll move on to the next one. Thank you.
Dale, I'll look to you for the kind of little thumbs up icon when we're ready to move on to the next.
Sorry for being a bother, but
No.
so
No.
I'm in the where I wrote my comments, and I don't see like a little box for the.
Really?
Wait, let me see.
Did you scroll all the way down? Because there shouldn't be
Okay.
one under that. Yeah, that
Yes,
first one
got
is
it.
just for your notes there. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think I see all three of them in there. Dale, you see all three?
All right, that's what I was
All
looking
right.
for, Dale. Well, congratulations, you guys were exactly on time. I'm so proud of us. Next up would be an application from the St. Croix Chippewa Indians of Wisconsin out of Webster, also submitting an application for $6,000. And our first reader stepping up for Lewis is April. Please, April.
Yeah. The St. Croix Tribal Council has requested the implementation of the program Daywagon 2 or Drum Teachings 2. So as elected officials, I think it's they speak for this tribal nation as far as need goes. This proposal requires the entire $6,000. It combines reintegration of those formerly incarcerated with these teachings. Outcomes for the participants in the programs are to learn distinctly named songs. St. Croix does have two communities, but the proposal comes from Webster. What I appreciate about this proposal is the healing nature of the arts and the suggestions that songs and learning of songs can heal not only individuals participating, but the group singing together. In addition, I appreciate that the recognized feeding of a community is a way of offering a showing of thanks for the gifts of those sharing their arts in this manner throughout the proposal. So that is my summary.
Appreciate that, April. Thank you. Comments, Miss Sadie?
I had some. I just wondered how the previously incarcerated individuals were related to this program. I read through the app twice trying to figure out are they the teachers, maybe they're the students learning again, and I just couldn't figure out that connection. So that would have been a little helpful for me. Otherwise, I really enjoyed reading about how the boys that were taught year one can now sing on their cell by themselves and do the drums by themselves, and they're kind of breaking away from being so dependent on their teachers. So it shows growth. And I liked how the local powwows and schools in the community were inviting them to showcase their skills. So it's obviously catching on what they're doing with this program. And yeah, that was really great to read.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sadie. Caitlin, can you let us know what it was that Lewis had to offer?
Yes, let's see.
Please.
He added that I think overall really impressed with the ability of this project to, fully meet the expectations of this, degree to which to the first review criterion there. For number 2, he again thought it was strong, and that the project, seemingly sort of simple in nature, really encapsulates the whole of the artistic endeavor, but also much more resonates with the plea to hold on to a culture vibrant with traditions. I really liked at one point he noted that, was it this application? There was one where he was like, I would like to participate in this myself, basically. He said, I think overall, I'm just sort of scanning to see if there was anything in addition to what you all noted, but I really think that he thought this was a strong application as well. And, not so sure on spurring economic development per se, but didn't believe that that was really essential to the nature of the project. So for that fifth criterion there. So overall, thought it was a strong application.
Cool. Any bounce back from our, yeah, please.
I don't know that it might spur community economic growth, but for individuals and groups, I think it has the potential to do so. As someone who has hosted and planned powwows, I've certainly made decisions on inviting drums from different regions, especially those showcasing younger talent, and that those groups have a way of accepting honorariums and sharing their honorariums for those individuals. In addition, I've also hired individual singers to join me at various functions that the university holds. And so I generally am looking for someone who might be younger and growing and is an emerging singer to do that, to showcase these young people's talents. I did want to express also, I didn't scroll down far enough in my little my little box on my summary. One of the concerns that I did have regarding the proposal and how it's written is the specificity of the participants. So when Sadie said that, I was like, oh, I missed something. While the reintegration program is composing the proposal, is there a prevention aspect to this where those formerly incarcerated are also teaching youth to stay on a path of wellness, i.e. out of jail? And so I thought, that kind of conversation would really boost the understanding of how the different participants might be interacting with each other.
Thank you for those comments, April. Sadie, anything else? We have time?
No, nothing else to add.
Okay.
That's really helpful feedback. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
I
you.
also want to add one more thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for including female singers. That's all.
I appreciate all the comments. I think they're all very helpful.
Yes, thank you both.
Alrighty then, I'll turn you over to your scoring procedures. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, you guys. The third application on our list comes from Uguagua out of De Pere, Wisconsin, asking for $4,809. April again is our first reader, so if you could give us your synopsis, I'd appreciate it, April. Thank you.
Uguagua, I hope I said that right, stemming from De Pere, Wisconsin, is seeking just under $5,000 to continue an ongoing endeavor to engage in traditional arts that center on sustainable harvest. They are drawing from skilled and experienced individuals from multiple tribal nations represented within the state, and they have secured additional fundings to ensure the program is a success. What I appreciate most is the sharing and teaching of how to have a relationship with the natural world within their art making, as Indigenous people share that common thread of knowledge that humans are a part of nature and our relationship with the earth is of value. What I question is, why not ask for the full 6,000? Was this due to a required match? So that is my comment.
Thank you. I appreciate that, April. Sadie, do you have a comment?
I liked how they are going to work with other nations, Lac du Flambeau and Stockbridge Munsee, to gather the materials in a sustainable way for the crafts that they'll be offering. The workshops seem like they're going to be a little smaller. I think that they said that they're capped at 12 participants. And I know that like intimate settings sometimes offer more like quality instruction, but I just wish it could be open to more people, because I know our own programs at Oneida Nation Arts Program fill up so quickly, and there's always need for more and more and more. So I just thought, like, I get why they're doing it with less participants, but it would be nice to have more. Um, other than that, I thought it was well written. I did notice the same thing April did with the budget, and was kind of curious why they didn't go for the full 6,000. Other than that, yeah, I thought it was a strong, well written application.
Thank you, Sadie.
Great.
Caitlin?
I would say that Lewis agrees with you both. Strengths include the fact that it involves the tradition of teaching and sharing. And I think, he said the only weakness is maintaining support. I wonder if that also has to do with that full request amount, and why not, go for the full 6,000 there, which I will certainly follow up with Becky and the team there on. He said, just looking over the project makes me want to visit, and he just felt confident in the team who was working on the application, and seems like they've, have all the T's crossed and I's dotted, he said. Yeah, I think that's the bulk of it.
Any bounce back, having heard the other comments?
From a pedagogical standpoint, I
Yes.
also just want to underscore this noted number of participants. That is a really tough call, but there may also be unknown safety factors involved if they are harvesting and dealing with sharp tools and stuff like that. And so a smaller number allows for that sort of everybody keep an eye on everybody sort of mentality, as opposed to a larger group. So I totally get both sides of that kind of position, and wanting to have more people participate, but also recognizing it could be safety and pedagogy factors there.
Appreciate that, April.
Yeah.
Any bounce back, Sadie?
Just looking through my comments, the only other thing I had was that with the budget, it would have been nice to see some examples of their planned in-kind donations instead of just listing it as like a bulk or a chunk. That's the only other comment I had.
That's helpful. Thanks, Sadie.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Anything else? Then I'll ask you guys to please score.
Thanks, Dale.
Great. The next application on our list is from the Waskaganish Institute of Indigenous Teaching and Learning out of Lac du Flambeau, Wisconsin. Again, for $6,000. And Sadie is our initial reader. So please, Sadie.
Okay, so taking place in Lac du Flambeau, requesting the full $6,000. I have down that the what piece of the project is unclear. It sounds like, I'm just going to say their acronym, WIITL. It sounds like they would like to have a creative space that acts as an art studio and a gallery. They have been lending their current meeting room to creatives for over a year. They don't charge artists to use the space, and the artists bring their own supplies. They would like artists to be able to create and display their work in the space, along with using the space to hold lessons for youth, elders, in the community. They stated that they're on the top of the list with the tribal council for extra space that is needed, and will be helping with this project when there is an opening in the tribal mini mall. I have questions about that, like how I just know how slow our Oneida Nation can move with some things. And I'm just wondering, what does being on the top of the list mean? Like, how fast will they be able to get that space and secure it? And then the proposed activity makes it sound as though they already have a space, but would use the grant to open another space to act as the gallery or studio in the mini mall. It kind of like, the more I read, I got more questions, or I had more questions than answers. So yeah, it was a bit hard for me to understand some of the objectives of what they're proposing.
Thank you, Sadie. I appreciate that. April, comments?
Yeah, I agree with Sadie. I certainly understand some of the aspects of what they're attempting to do, but I think that their narrative could be constructed in a manner that maybe has some more solid things underneath it. So who are the artists that maybe already have been lent the space? And would they be people that need that space? So I get the need. I absolutely get the need, but I struggled too with some of the messaging within the proposal to help me make a real clear tie to what their outcome is and what, as a result, what's going to blossom from this, right?
Thank you. Thank you for those thoughts. Caitlin, do we know what Lewis had to say?
Yeah, let's see. He noted that, they seem to have a firm foundation from their previous work. But I think that it also wasn't entirely clear sort of what this artistic endeavor, what exactly it is. He said, wonderful that, they're going ahead with this type of project, but I think that, I'm sorry, I'm just scanning. That was about the bulk of it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any bounce back from our panelists in the room?
I had some comments on the budget as well.
Sure.
I think Carol Amor.
Amor.
Okay, she was listed on there, but then nothing in the narrative or in the writing really mentioned like what her role is and why she's significant. And then I also had questions like, if they get the space at the mini mall, how will they maintain the space? And then who will do like the basic housekeeping, since they have such a small organizational budget? I was just wondering about upkeep of the building.
Thanks.
Those are great questions.
Yeah, go ahead, April.
I had a question regarding the budget as well. The budget breakdown indicates that printing actually would get a high amount of dollars, and I didn't understand if the space was the core need, what printing might be involved in that, as there was really not a rationale that I had seen in the narrative or with the budget that explained that need. The other thing is how many artists. While not all of our proposals are name exact number of artists, is that the fee going to 1 or 2 artists or 10 artists? And that would help me make a decision with that itemized estimate, even to say that we have a goal of reaching this many artists and helping with having this space for them.
Thank you. Very thoughtful. Sadie, something?
I just put that I think that they said that they had a dozen pre-signed artists on their roster, and I was just wondering what goes into that. What goes into signing an artist and all that? Sorry, I'm going to mute myself. My dogs are broken.
No problem.
Thank you for saying that number. I missed that along the line, so I appreciate you stating that.
That's why I love these conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We miss things. We're human.
True enough. Being human, I will have forgotten something. Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else? Then I'll ask us to please score.
Thanks, Dale.
Great. Well, friends, it brings us to the final application on our list, which is from the Woodland Indian Art Incorporated organization out of Oneida, Wisconsin, also seeking $6,000. And April, our final first reporter, please.
Yeah, you bet. The
Yep.
Woodland Indian Arts proposal stems centering on Connections Indigenous Fashion Show project as part of the Woodland Indian Art Show and Market in November in Green Bay. They have asked for the full 6,000. The proposal is clear. Their video and photographs help to tell a vibrant story about past successes, which leads to potential enthusiasm for future projects. The strengths are a combination of representation and economic growth. I actually have no concerns regarding this proposal.
Thank you very much, April. Comment, Sadie? And Pooch?
My comments, let me see here. I'm just looking at what I
Sure.
wrote in that first box. Oh, well, I can let you know that I did serve on the board previously. And I know that there is a lot of excitement around the fashion show. So it's only been a part of Woodland Indian Art since 2023. But I feel like in the few years it's been around, it's something that people look forward to, something that people get really excited about. And it also acts to bring together the different woodland tribes, which is really cool. So instead of it just being Oneida, they pull from the different tribes around the area. So they kind of act as like a connecting point, this event does. And it also increases the sales of the vendors because it brings in more traffic. So it's an all around good event. And I thought that the proposal was well written. The budget was clear and detailed. So yeah, I don't have any concerns either.
Thank you, Sadie. I appreciate those comments. Something from our Lewis?
I would say that he really felt the same way. He didn't have any concerns and he sort of scored it accordingly. He said, just a, let's see, great opportunity and seems to have met all the criteria for the, most of the criteria in here. So I think that wonderful opportunities. And again, he said these folks seem to know what they're doing. So he did not have any concerns.
Any bounce back from the folks in the room?
I don't have bounce back, but I do have a further comment. And this
Great.
kind of speaks to both the feasibility as far as economic growth, as well as the making and expressing. So this proposed project has value within Native American communities as fashion, including apparel and accessories, is growing exponentially within Indian country. There is very little to choose from that reflects woodland art from Indigenous artists of the territory. In fact, other fashion outlets from the mainstream have stolen Indigenous-inspired patterns for mass production. This activity speaks back to such unjust business practices that keep Native artists from flourishing in their work. Participants will be able to creatively express themselves or the models that will wear their work through the art form of fashion. And so I argue both participants and audience members will acquire knowledge in woodland fashion arts by engaging in this show.
Thank you, April.
Great.
Anything else, Sadie?
No.
No? We're comfortable in scoring them? Well, let's please do so. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
They're fabulous. Yeah.
Flew through those. Well, we're going to give Dale a couple minutes to average those scores and he'll I think probably either email them over to me and I'll share them on the screen, or he can share them on the screen, and then we can just have a discussion about where the scores fall here. But let's say 9:55. We'll just take a quick breather and come back in 5.
Sure. Sounds good
Great.
to me.
All right.
There
Thanks, everyone.
You can stay or you can go. I don't have donuts, so
Dale, do you need anything from me for now?
No,
Great.
I'll email you the PDF in a
Okay,
little bit.
perfect. Thank you.
so what's up in the Green Bay this weekend, April?
Oh, you know what? Has nothing to do with Green Bay. It has to do with, okay, two things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to hit a Joanne Fabrics before everything is gone and just give my last, final
Dollars.
moments with Joanne Fabrics. It's the closest one to me. But
Yep.
two, I wanted to go see the Prince movie, Purple Rain, in an AMC theater, and that we don't have any AMC theaters in the Upper Peninsula. So I was going to.
AMC. I don't know what that is.
AMC is a theater chain. And
Okay,
so the AMC theaters across the United
got it.
States are showing Purple Rain.
Okay, okay.
We just don't have a theater that is
That is
affiliated with
showing.
that chain.
Yeah.
So that was my spring break winter recess gift to myself to go down to Joanne's and see Purple Rain on the big screen.
Well, those both sound like really worthy goals, but not worth sliding into a ditch for.
Hello, right? Exactly,
I went
exactly.
to my Joanne's yesterday.
Yeah.
I had gone for something, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, and because just in the normal course of stuff I need. And so, I needed a new pair of scissors and just some things and good deals, good coupons, all of that. Then about 2 days later, I start to hear this news that they're closing. And then day before yesterday, I saw that's it, all the Joanne. So I thought, I'm going to take my little self on down and see.
Yeah.
In my Joanne's, first of all the scissors were gone. The good stuff.
Good scissors.
Yeah, with the Fiskars and
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Right, yeah, they were all gone. There was one pair of Fiskars left in the entire store, and other than that, it was the junk, $10 scissors. But fabric, velvet, muslin, interfacing, 20% off. And I bumped into another lady in the store, and I'm like, well, this is a great deal. I got better deals a month ago with my coupons on my cell phone, 40% 1 yard or whatever.
Right.
But people were filling their carts.
Right.
So
yeah. I could see them just not going the full barrel, 50, 60% off, because this is it. There is no, and they probably still have some obligations to fulfill. So I got interfacing online a few years ago, 50% off, and I bought so much, I don't think I'll need interfacing the rest of my life.
I bought a whole bolt of like the lightweight that I use not for the structure of my material, but for the backing for my patterns, that 50 weight or whatever that is. And I did buy a 15-yard bolt of it. It was only 25% off, but I thought, I know I use it and it's going to be a pain in the hinder to find. So while it's here, I did get the last bolt in the store, but it wasn't that good of a savings.
Right.
Yeah. And, the velvet was only 20% off. And the last time I was there, their glamour fabrics were 40% off. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Aww.
Go for the fun of it, but.
Yeah. Well, thank you for making me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. I didn't even buy the muslin because, I like that muslin. It substitutes for treaty cloth for me a lot of times.
Yeah.
Muslin. It was $12.99 a yard, which is normal. And it was only 20% off. And I thought, well, that's not.
Right.
Some worth stocking up on.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, but what a end of an era.
Yeah.
I used to sit on the floor in Joann's at my mom's feet for, hours. She would look for patterns and look for
Yes.
whatever. And
Yes.
yeah, I just have a lot of Joann memories
Yeah.
from my childhood and whatever that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll miss it. Our Walmart, however people feel about Walmart is how they feel, but our Walmart still carries
Oh yeah.
good fabric department. So
Okay.
that'll be my substitute. It isn't as deep as
Right.
Joann's, but
Yep.
it'll do. It'll have to.
It'll have to. Right.
Yeah. So
I feel you, April. I'm from northeastern Ohio originally, so where Joann's was based. So it's kind of surreal to think that after that many years they're closing up shop. It's sad.
Yeah. It
The
is
one
sad.
here by us has sort of been in disarray for maybe the last 2 years. It's like you never know what you're gonna get in there, and I sort of had a sense, but yeah, I was still surprised to see that news that it's official.
Well, our
So
closest one is in Wisconsin, so we have to leave this.
Yeah.
There's none in the Upper Peninsula. So
Did I catch
I
that?
kind
That
of
was
had the
your...
sense a while ago when they closed all of them up here.
Yeah. Did I hear that that's what your Green Bay trip was?
Yes,
Yeah.
that, and I was going to try to see Purple Rain in a big screen theater.
Oh, that'd be a great weekend or great getaway.
Wednesday, middle of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dale just sent this over to me, so give me
Okay.
just a minute. All right, I'm gonna make it a little bigger here for us. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Thanks.
Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
Great. So at this point, we'll just take a couple minutes, give the scores a look and see, if you feel that there's a pretty clear break there, and if one of you would like to just put it out there, if you think that there's a spot to set the floor.
And this is up to our two panelists because neither Caitlin and I are allowed to have an opinion.
It seems like we were thinking along the same lines. They kind of match what I was inputting. Like they're all close and they seem similar.
I think all of them are close, relatively speaking, except for the West Wageningen Institute. And I think some of that is just coming from the concrete detail that's necessary to make decisions. And so, but I see Lewis, I shouldn't, number 3 scored very differently. But at the same time, I felt the comments were in agreement. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to say about that any further, except the observation of that those numbers seem to differ and have a bit of a break from the other consistencies.
And I will chime in just to say I wonder if he had been part of the conversation, if those scores might be more in line, just since he scored it on his own.
I totally was guessing that was the case. My bad. I shouldn't have done that.
So right, that's why we have conversations.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, sorry.
No, I would just say unless Sadie has a comment that she would like to make. I'm just asking. You don't have to.
No, I do think that all the apps aside from the last one were stronger and they were well written and clear. And then when we got to the WIITTL, it was just I had more questions than I did answers. So I understand our 2 scores being lower, the 60 and the 45.
I think, and Caitlin, correct me if I'm wrong here, but one of the questions that's on the floor is, looking at the numbers in front of us, do we see when we're looking at the averages, right, Caitlin? Is there a natural gap that shows up in the scoring rankings.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'd say, I think that, no, sorry, April. I think that, you know, even with Lewis's higher score in there, you know, Sadie, you mentioned there's a pretty clear break there, and then it's just a matter of, you know, and based on your scores, I would assume that this is how you'd feel. You know, if you feel comfortable saying, we think the top four are strong and, you know, should be recommended for funding. It sounds like that, you know, the lowest scored application could use some additional technical assistance, and just some clarity was lacking there in the detail on the application. But not to put words in your mouth, so please.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I would say if we were looking for a floor, I would think at least a point average of 85 or above would be, you know, and that's, you know, I think recognizing that all proposals aren't created equal, and the teams that put them together have, you know, some need more assistance and some have more experience or what have you. But that's what I would recommend, is that we consider a floor of 85 or above. And all of the top four clearly make the 90, if we had imposed a 90 floor, and we didn't even have to do that. But that would have been my, you know, and even, you know, it's hard when there's such a noticeable break. It's really hard. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that courage, April.
Mhm.
You know, because it's hard to say things out loud sometimes, but that's why we rely on you guys. So, comment, Sadie? Nothing.
I agree with April's recommendation of the 85 or above, and that there's like a clear differentiation between the four and then the last one.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Yeah, thank you so much. So, just to reiterate, consensus is that, you know, we set the floor kind of below that fourth application, and that would mean that that fifth application is would not be recommended for funding this year.
Correct.
Got it.
I'll take that to the board when we meet next week. Thank you guys for your courage, your honesty, and your willingness to help people improve. If we're to the point of having a discussion, and I don't know that we can, I would say, to me, that that's one of the hidden benefits, potentials, opportunities for these panel discussions. I hope that the applicants do look at our really thoughtful and encouraging comments. But I do think, you know, we can help people in terms of providing comments around continuous improvement. And yeah, you know, the old time SWOT analysis, strength, opportunity, weakness, all of that. Weaknesses are real. And when we point them out, especially when, as in this discussion, opportunities for improvement are provided, I think that that's a very courageous and, in my mind, it's a big gift. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you. I second all of that. I think that you all provided really thoughtful and just constructive feedback, and especially on this application. And I will take that to Doreen and the team there, and, you know, work with them technical assistance wise to strengthen an application for next time around. So it's really helpful. And on all the applications, I think you gave really thoughtful, just concise feedback. So thank you for that. And I think this next part, like Karen Ann said, we can kind of open it up just for conversation. You know, this is where it's helpful to, and April, you know, having served once before, and Sadie has fresh eyes on this, you know, trends that you see, or what is maybe missing from the pool here. Like April mentioned, in the beginning, we are always looking to up the applicants and to get more first-time applicants in the program. So I think that any brainstorming that we can do together on that is really helpful. Just feedback. Sadie, I'm curious, you know, your grant making experience, you know, from the ONAP end, how does this compare? Just any feedback that you might have.
I do like your guys' layout of the how you do the panel review on Zoom, and Ours is a little different just because we allow the participants 5 minutes to speak, and sometimes that can get a little messy and hard to track. So I like how this is available online for people to just watch after. Trends, I don't know. I liked how, there was a variety this year. There was the drums, there was the fashion show, there was the crafting at the farm and making different indigenous crafts and foods. And I thought there was a good variety, but yeah, I was surprised that there was just the 5 applications. I was expecting more. So yeah, it's good to know that in other years there was at least two more, like as an average. So
It seemed like we had 8 last year, but I could be wrong in my memory with that. But I just knew that it seemed less this year. It
Yeah,
definitely was notably less.
yeah, and you could be right, and I imagine that Caitlin could look it up if we give her a
Yeah,
minute.
I want to say it was 7, but I will certainly check.
Yeah. But, I would say regardless of what the actual number is, this is something that in my observation, this program struggles with. I think that in my observation, we need to figure out a way to both broaden the field, and maybe that's about reducing barriers, but I'm not sure exactly what the barriers are or what we need to change in our invitation process or call process to encourage people to come in. We did one time do I guess a town hall, a listening session where we invited past applicants, potential future applicants, and we did make some changes, including increasing the amount of the grant. Because at that time, my big takeaway was that people said it's an awful lot of work for not that much money when the money was 3,000.
Yeah.
So doubling it, to me, was a fair response, but it didn't get us clearly that many more. So suggestions for sure,
Mhm.
I
Or
think
and if you don't think of them today, let us.
yeah, please, yeah,
know.
no, feel free to send a
Yeah.
note or give me a call anytime to chat about it. Because I think I'm looking, I see 6 from last year, which I thought there was at least one more too. But there's 6 active applications from last year. So I think that is what I struggle with too. Like Karen Ann said, we made that adjustment to up the award amount. Just seemed fair, truly, for the
These
workers.
days.
Even going through the process of getting registered in the system can feel like a barrier sometimes. But I think it's identifying what the other barriers are, and I think that part of that is just it's a real formal grant application. You have to be registered in. I think that there's just you have to feel a certain level of confidence in using a system like this in
Sure.
applying for a
Yeah,
grant to get it in. But I think we struggle with identifying those barriers and addressing them. The other piece that we adjusted, or one of the other pieces we adjusted after that kind of brainstorming session that we had a couple years ago, was to make the change that prior to 2 years ago, maybe the match requirement was that half of it had to be in cash and half could be in kind. And now we allow any mix of cash or in kind, which I think has certainly lightened the load on some of the applicants. But it's just that how do we get new folks in here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does this require the EIN or the thing from the
Yeah. And now,
yeah,
I think
that's an Achilles.
yeah, just to get into the grant system, there has to be that.
Have you hosted workshops and for folks on how to do that?
We've definitely provided some technical assistance. A lot of it's been one-on-one for folks who reach out and say, like, where do I start with this?
Yeah.
But we could certainly do more of that. So that's a really good.
I would think a combined town hall plus training
Yep.
on that might really allow people to maybe express some of those barriers on top of, but then saying, here's a solution, here's one solution we want to help you with, right? To
Yeah.
kind of say it's about give and take. And so I think the town hall meeting might be worth a revisiting.
Yeah.
But offer in as a means of saying, okay, we recognize there may be frustrations and barriers. Here's one way we want to try to help you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. I think because this is just me imagining things, and I don't know if it's true or not, but sometimes I think people don't even get that far. It's because we just assume, oh Christ, it's
Yeah.
got, submittable. What is that? I'll just do
Right.
something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Sadie,
go ahead.
oh no, go ahead, Karen, please.
No, I'm just going to say that front load barrier where we don't even know who we're not even getting.
Exactly.
That's, to me, the piece of the magic that I would like to figure out.
Right.
Yeah. If we had more capacity to make community visits,
Right.
that'd be wonderful. But I don't see us having with a. Well, let's see. Caitlin is it.
Yeah.
So when you did your town hall, was it Zoom based?
It was. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2020. Oh boy.
I was going to say
I think it was
23.
2021,
Oh
2022.
no, long ago.
It might have been.
Regardless, it would be worth doing again then.
Yeah, it absolutely
4 or
would be.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's a really good point.
Too, that giving examples, like having previous grant recipients give examples, maybe even making a short video of what they accomplished with the funds, speaks volumes, because I did that in the newspaper this year, the tribal newspaper for our DAP program. I put like examples of what the projects were, because I think a lot of people just hear grant and they're, they don't know what to think. So I put, well, this guy was able to produce his own original play. This person was able to make her own regalia with this grant and then put it on this. And it kind of put like a face to the project, kind of, and help people realize what they can bring to life.
That's a great idea. I think that, when I send out some like mailings about the program, it's like a really general, it could fund this and it could fund this, but I think more specific examples, I think that's these are some recently funded projects, just to give you a sense of, yeah.
That is
That's a great idea.
Yeah, because now as a applicant or potential applicant, I'm like, well, that's kind of like what I wanted to do, or I can see myself doing something like that. That visual, that is really smart. That is really smart.
Idea.
I've often said what I would love to see, and this is just crazy talk, but 10 years from now or 5 years, I would love to see us maybe take a break from the grant, but use the money to post some kind of exhibit of what all has been done through this. And I don't know what exactly that would look like, but
that sounds like an NEA grant to me.
Doesn't it?
I wish we had funds in addition to this so we could continue the awards, but yeah.
If only they could fund diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh my goodness. I can't go strolling down that pathway right now.
Right. I was thinking of that, but I think, that to Sadie's idea could really uplift, like, oh my God, look at all of this. Look at this family we've created. Yeah.
That's great. I would love that.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the process? You all have been so helpful and so wise. So I just am really grateful. As always, y'all made this easy on me. So thank you. Yeah, I will be sure to follow up I'll follow up with everyone, but I will definitely follow up. Someone is really trying to reach me. I will follow up, with Waswaganing and the team there and provide some technical assistance for sure. And then I guess, from your all's perspective, if there are organizations or folks that might be interested that are on your radar. I have a few that I've reached out to over the years, and some of those just haven't quite materialized into applications. But if there are organizations that you think should be in the mix here, please let me know. Feel free to send an email, and I can find contact information and do that outreach. But it's always helpful too to have a, I heard from Sadie that you, or I heard from April. So yeah, if any come to mind, please do let me know.
And are we kind of mums the word until the Arts Board actually puts the word out?
Yeah, we will meet in a week on Tuesday. So just, keep it close to your chest for now for the next week, and then we'll send out notifications probably by Wednesday. I would think that, or maybe Thursday, I'll reach out to those organizations and we'll get rolling on those awards. So yeah, just for the next week. Good question.
What else? Well, my personal and professional, but really personal thanks to everybody involved here. I know Dale's already left us, but that includes him too, because he's a good part of this team. I really appreciate you having the courage to make those encouraging comments for our relatives. And I think that's what we do as artists, and lift one another up and help one another be better. So you guys have helped me be better, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you both. You were the fantastic panelists. So just very appreciative.
I release you?
We release you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Sadie.
You too. Have a good day.
Yeah, good to see you, Caitlin. Bye.
Yeah, you too,
See you
April.
later.
Good to see you, Sadie. I'll see you, Karen. I'll see you next week.
Yep. Sounds good.